She's going, Hamas, 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 Hamas. That's what she's doing. I mean, that's what it is. She said, no politic here. No politic here. Hamas, Israel, number one. Hamas, number two. Hamas, not number one. Anyway, it's just like, it's nothing. It's pennies on the dollar, but it's just yet another instance of like classic government expenditure, silly government expenditures. Anyway, all right, we're moving on. Totally and utterly inadequate. Starmer says the world cannot allow Gaza to starve. We're going to talk about the international community's response, the new community's response. I got to pee though first.
Mr. Speaker, with permission, the House on the 3 recent trade deals we've struck in the national interest. But first, Mr. Speaker, I'd like to say something about the horrific situation in Gaza, where the level of suffering, innocent children being bombed again, is utterly intolerable. Mr. Speaker, over the weekend, we coordinated a response with our allies, as set out in my statement with President Macron and Prime Minister Carney last night. And I want to put on record today that we're horrified by the escalation from Israel. We repeat our demand for a ceasefire as the only way to free the hostages. We repeat our opposition to settlements in the West Bank. And we repeat our demand to massively scale up humanitarian assistance into Gaza. The recent announcement that Israel will allow a basic quantity of food into Gaza, a basic quantity, is totally and utterly inadequate. So we must coordinate our response, because this war has gone on for far too long. We cannot allow the people of Gaza to starve, and the Foreign Secretary will come to the House shortly to set out our response.
He's trying to deny the Kid Starver allegations, bro. He knows what his name is. He knows his name is Kid Starver. He's like, nah, I don't like that. People keep calling me Kid Starver, and I am not a child starver. Please. Yeah. Meanwhile, they have contributed to the destruction in Gaza aggressively. Here's Declassified UK. Breaking. The Ministry of Defense has confirmed that declassified that UK spy flights for Israel will continue. RAF spy planes heading to Gaza have left the UK base on Cyprus on 5 of the last 6 days, according to flight data. Yeah. Israel's partnership with the UK for security is crucial. The RAF support aids in protecting Israeli civilians from Hamas's relentless attacks. Oh, brother. What's really interesting about all of this is that, like, they are finally arriving at least the optics front, which might even, like, they're becoming Erdogan, okay? This is the position that they should have been day one. They're hitting the Erdogan technique, where they just start talking about Israel in a mean way and even aesthetically claim that they are going to implement a blockade against Israel while simultaneously still offering all of the military support necessary to Israel. I asked the Foreign Secretary, what exactly are British air bases being used for during the genocide in Gaza? He refused to answer. Yeah, he went to, bro, Kid Starver went to Cyprus, okay? Kid Starver directly went to Cyprus, where there are British military bases that conduct operations above Gaza at the behest of Israel in this security cooperation agreement that they have. It's f***ing bullshit.
Supplied to Israel over the past 6 months, what arms are being supplied now to Israel, what RAF Akrotiri is being used for, is it supporting the Israeli war machine, and can he inform the House categorically that no component part of an F-35 jet made in Britain is supplied to Israel to continue their bombardment of Gaza?
Yeah. There was also a previous court case where they directly supported the UK continuing to offer F-35 jet components to Israel. That literally just happened. Like, that happened recently, no? Wasn't there a court case where the UK court found that the United Kingdom was allowed to still send F-35 jet components to Israel?
Yeah. Well, can I say to him with judgment that he asked me a similar question a few weeks ago, and I gave him the answer that we suspended arms sales. That was a sober decision made. They're not being given use in Gaza at this time. That is a strict decision under our export licensing regime. save for the carve-out we've made for F-35s, which I know he disagrees with, but that is the position because we're not prepared to disrupt supply chains across the world.
Yeah. Save for the F-35 components. Minister of Health calling Zara Sultana so cheap for saying the UK should stop selling weapons to Israel.
Between October and December 2024, the government approved over £127 million in export licenses to Israel, exceeding the combined total under the Tories for 2020 to 2023.
You want to know something crazy? There's a comparison I'm going to make here as well to Israeli society, or at least like some outspoken people in Israeli society right now. These are the people, the Zara Sultanas and the Jeremy Corbyns of the world are the people that are desperately trying to preserve the soul of these countries. Okay? A lot of these f***ing animals don't understand that. They are so invested in their completely distorted worldview that revolves around might is right politics, where there is no right and no wrong. The only thing that is correct is whatever we say goes, that they don't understand that in the process of scolding these people, they are once again dehumanizing themselves. These are the last people that are desperately trying to claw back some semblance of humanity for the Western world, a humanity that we do not deserve to be associated with, by the way. Okay? We are barbaric animals. And that's precisely what's going on in Israel as well. The reason why I make this comparison is because I saw another like idiotic Hasbara account, I think it was like Neo something, post these the succession, these articles in a negative fashion, not realizing that these articles that she's posting negatively are unironically on the morally correct side. But she doesn't realize that, and I think she might have realized that and deleted it. Nope, here it is. Haaretz, ladies and gentlemen, Neo Berg posts, possibly the most famous Iranian Jew on X, advocates for Iranian monarchy and restoration, Iranian monarchy restoration in Israel, anti-woke. Okay? She posted the succession, these article titles as a negative. If you are a Jewish Israeli, you are complicit in the killing of 53,000 Palestinians from Odeh Biz Harat. Gideon Levy writes, stop calling it a Gaza war. Stop being a part of Netanyahu's genocidal legacy. Alon Idan, destroying Gaza with love. Israel's new yogi Nazis. That last one is about specifically the holistic yoga lovers in Israel that are firmly committed to the day. They are basically neo-Nazis that love. They're crunchy granola neo-Nazis. Okay? Can you imagine posting this as a negative? Like, how oblivious are you? How oblivious are you to the way the world fucking views Israel that you literally post some of the only saving grace in Israeli society as a negative, with the assumption that your audience is also going to respond to it like it's negative? Here's Daniel Mate responding from Bad Hasbara, son of Gabor Mate, brother of Aaron Mate. One of the last flashes of redemptive honesty in your society, and you think it's contemptible. You are going to go down in history as having chosen self-destruction over the kind of insight that changes things. This, to me, demonstrates how you are. Okay? This, to me, demonstrates how far gone you are in your worldview, how invested you are in your worldview, where nothing at all can change your trajectory. Like, can you imagine looking at the last bastion, the last hope, the last redeemers of Israeli society in any way, shape, or form, looking at that and then turning around and being like, fuck these losers. They're a bunch of capos, the capo newspaper. Look, that's the first response. Insane. Golan, Israel becoming a pariah state, is killing children as a hobby from the times of Israel. Yair Golan, the head of the opposition Democrats, issues a scathing denunciation of the government and the war in Gaza, saying that Israel is killing children in Gaza as a hobby. There are at least liberal Zionists, okay, who fucking understand how bad this shit looks to the Western world, so they're trying to massage the narrative to basically have something redeemable. Now, I don't put the other three article writers in the same degree here, okay? I need you to understand something. This is very different than what I showed you. What I showed you earlier, the thing that she was complaining about, these guys, they have a different mindset. They do actually have redeemable opinions, especially Gideon Levy. I might not agree with them the entire way, but it doesn't matter. They do have like, at least clearly from what I read, what I saw bits and pieces of this article and what I know of Gideon's perspective. I'm not entirely familiar with Odeh Bizharat, but like the article title stands alone. Like, those guys they're correct. Yair Golan, on the other hand, is doing this as a mechanism of propaganda as well. Like, he is literally saying, like, we've gone too far. You know what I mean? There is a number of baby murder that is appropriate. We've just gone above and beyond that, and now people fucking hate us. We've become a pariah state. We are becoming a pariah state, not realizing that you already are a pariah state. Israel is on the way to becoming a pariah state. It already is, like South Africa was. If we don't return to acting like a sane country, the left-wing leader, a former IDF deputy chief of staff, says in an interview with the public broadcaster. And a sane country does not fight against civilians, does not kill babies as a hobby, and does not give itself the aim of expelling populations, he says. The government is full of vengeful types with no morals, no ability to run a country in a time of crisis. This endangers our existence, Golan says. I suspect he got a lot of pushback for this statement, which is already like fucking bare minimum. You know what I mean? It's a day late, a dollar too short, and yet still this is considered completely unacceptable in Israel. Sentiments like this is completely considered unacceptable. Okay? Knesset debate reveals not everyone thinks starving Gazan children is a bad thing. Here's another article headline that I wanted to show you. From 40 Babies hoax to this bookend. Moshe Feilin on Channel 14. Every baby in Gaza is an enemy. Every baby, every child, every baby in Gaza is an enemy. The enemy is not Hamas. We need to conquer Gaza and colonize it and not leave a single Gazan child there. There is no other victory. Prominent Judeo-Nazi maniac Moshe Feilin on another genocidal rant this morning on Channel 14. Every society... No society is monolithic. Every society has discourse. Every society has back and forth. There's always going to be a diversity of opinions. But in Israel, the diversity of opinion revolves around how much genocide and what kind of weapons you can use, how much starvation is appropriate. It's not about, there is no real conversation surrounding the notion that we shouldn't be doing an occupation at all. We shouldn't be starving children at all. What the fuck are we doing? It's more so, is it okay to starve all of the Gazan children? Or can we at least like maybe give them one plate of fucking food and one slice of bread for the day as we kill them over and over again? That is the real debate happening in Israel. It is completely cooked as a society. Of course, it's a fucking pariah state. They've lost their goddamn minds. Israel is also terrifying because it resembles America's future if left unchecked. If people don't fucking currently wisen up to the way that the Trump administration is moving, we are going to become Israel very shortly, okay? It's already beginning, and we're ironically using Israel as a mechanism to bring Israel here. Fuck. Yeah, yesterday, Ofer Kosif tried to tell Dr. Abdallah Makat, who operated in a public library in Gaza, was burned to death with his entire family. But for the Knesset, this was too much to hear. For the war criminals, humanizing even one Palestinian is forbidden. He basically brings up the story of Dr. Abdallah Makat, who operated a public library in Gaza and was burned to death with his entire family. Let's take a look at the response. I don't speak Hebrew. There is no fucking, there's no subtitles here, but let's take a look at what they're saying.
ישראל שרפה את ספרייתו, השטיחה את שכונתו ואיתו. תצאי, אם את לא יכולה לשמוע, את יכולה לצאת. אל תדאג. אני לא אתן לזה. חברת הכנסת. לומר שאנחנו זוכרים.
I mean, I don't even think we need to translate. I could tell what she's saying. She just says, "They're Hamas, you love Hamas. Why do you love Hamas?" There's a bunch of Hebrew speakers in the chat. They say they can translate it, but she's saying he's a terrorist supporter and she won't let him speak. Yeah. If you can't hear it, leave. I won't let this terror something. They're telling her to leave. Can't tell what she's saying, Lamau. Yeah. She's going, Hamas, 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 Hamas. That's what she's doing. I mean, that's what it is. She said, no politic here. No politic here. Hamas, Israel, number one. Hamas, number two. Hamas, not number one.
לפני כשנה ישראל שרפה את ספרייתו, השטיחה את שכונתו וביתו, ואמש הוא נרצח ביחד עם אביו, עם אשתו וילדיהם, עם אחיו, נשותיהם וילדיהם.
הוא מאשים את חיילי צה"ל ברצח, זה מה שהוא עושה עכשיו. אתה לא יכול לאפשר לו. הוא מאשים את חיילי צה"ל ברצח. אסור לך לאפשר.
הוא לא אמר חיילים, הוא לא אמר חיילים.
מי בעזה? אני, אתה? מי בעזה? אתה צריך להוריד אותו.
Let me guess. Is he saying go to Gaza? I'll send you to Gaza? Something like that? He is accusing IDF soldiers with murder. If you can't hear it, leave. I won't let this. Her previous job was a senator for rapists, and she was the worst victim accuser. She's a real devil. He accuses Israeli occupying force soldiers in murder. Yeah, he is doing that because he is doing that because that's the truth. Like, these guys are so this goes to show exactly how out of whack Israeli society and Israeli Knesset is, where these guys are like, no, I don't even want to fucking hear. I don't even want to hear the notion that like our big, beautiful, brave soldiers are killing someone who's innocent. Tell me he's a rapist, Palestinian, barbaric, Nukba force operative that was going to cut the boobs off of every Jewish Israeli woman and play soccer with it. That's the modus operandi here. That's like the insanity that they're operating with. People are operating with the notion of Rabbi Shmuley. Like the paranoid fantasies of Rabbi Shmuley, basically. Okay. Here, look. If you want to hear what some other incredible takes are coming out of Israel, let's take a look. I'll tell you more than that. Every child, every baby in Gaza is an enemy. It's so funny to me, even though it's obviously gross and terrifying and horrible. All of the worst things. Like if you feel like you hate Israel, let me tell you, you don't hate Israel hard enough. Okay, there's no amount of hatred that's hard enough. Okay, I will just say that. But on the other hand, there's something really dark, but also ironic and somewhat funny about the fact that like in Israel, they openly are entertaining this stuff, right? And in America, when you say they're openly entertaining this stuff in Israel, you get branded a fucking anti-Semite. It's so weird. It's like, but they're saying it. Like, what do you mean? I'm just reporting on what they fucking said. The fuck are you talking about? What are you, like, what? No, in order to be a defender of Jewish people, you have to literally close your eyes and shut off your ears and bite your tongue and not say the truth about what the fuck is going on in Israel. They've lost their fucking minds, okay? A truly and utterly depraved society. Of course they have to be truly and utterly depraved at this point. They're doing a fucking genocide for 19 months. You can't maintain a genocide for 19 months on an outgroup, okay? Without a healthy dose of dehumanization propaganda that has to set in, that has to be an incredibly important part of your identity. That's it. Like, think about how much people freaked out about that one dude in Hamas on the, I think he was like the Lebanese branch guy who was like, because of what Israel has done to us, 1 million October 7s is justified against Israel, right? He said that shortly after October 7, and everyone was like, this is genocide. This is genocidal. Okay, there's been 19 months of genocide, and every single Israeli politician at this point, with the exception of like 3, have literally been like, it's a genocide and it's good, and we need to do genocide specifically to the fucking babies. Like, they keep saying it. What do you mean? If that statement in and of itself you think is genocidal, when the dude is fucking saying, like, what Israel has done to us justifies a million October 7th, what the fuck are you talking about? If you think that that is a genocidal statement, what the fuck do you think this is? We need a new word for it. You can't just say this. Both of those things are in the same fucking universe, you know? It's crazy. That's why I don't shy away. Like, previously, there are plenty of people in this community that would probably tell you that previously, like Jewish members of this community especially, would tell you that in the past, like 2 years ago, or even like a couple months into what Israel was doing in Gaza, if I were to compare it to the Nazis, or if I were to compare what's happening in Gaza to the Holocaust, there would be a lot of people that would be like, oh, that's a bridge too far, I think. Now, you won't hear anybody fucking respond to that in a negative fashion. Everyone will say, no, this is it's not a one-to-one comparison in terms of like the total numbers, but that is precisely what's going on. It is a mechanized death camp. It is mechanized death, just like the Holocaust was. And it's happening in an open-air prison that is now turned into an open-air death camp. Now think, why is it that the public sentiment has changed this dramatically? It's because people realize what's going on. And that's also part of the reason why, that is also part of the fucking reason why, because look at this dipshit. Every child, every baby in Gaza is an enemy, he says. That's the reason why the UK is at least trying to aesthetically present themselves in opposition to what Israel is doing, while still calling it a fucking war, by the way. The reason why, bro, it gets worse. Former Israeli Minister of Knesset quotes Hitler while discussing the Gaza war. As Hitler said, I can't live if one Jew is left. We can't live here if one Islamo-Nazi remains in Gaza. He has a whole segment on his Wikipedia dedicated to his Hitler statements. He has said something like this more than once. His Hitler comments are, I'm sorry, what? Feiglin has openly stated that though he is not opposed to peace, peace is not his goal and would not be on top of his agenda as prime minister. Rather, his focus on reforming Israel as an essentially Jewish state by acting on several campaigns on the religious, social, and legal and security fronts. Yeah, he said that, by the way, back in fucking, I guess he said it in, when? June 16th, 2024. This is what dude, I'm serious. I mean, like, look, people say, like, this is an edge case or whatever, right? Like, this is an edge case. It's like, chatter. It's not like what fucking Benjamin Netanyahu or a fucking security cabinet or the governing coalition are saying something that different. They just don't like directly say Adolf Hitler said this and it's good, but they sound like Adolf Hitler. They repeat Adolf Hitler's arguments all the time. This guy's at least fucking honest about it. You know what I mean? He's directly giving credit to the man who originated the quote. That's it. That's the only difference. So like, the idea that these are like random edge cases is so fucking stupid, okay? There is a link to Hitler comments of this guy. Oh my God. In an article on Haaretz, Yossi Sarid quoted Feiglin in context of demonstrations against the Oslo Accords as saying, Hitler was an unparalleled military genius. Nazism promoted Germany from a low to a fantastic physical and ideological status. The ragged, trashy youth body turned into a neat and orderly pact of society, and Germany received an exemplary regime, a proper justice system, and public order. Hitler savored good music. He would paint. This was no bunch of thugs. They merely used thugs and homosexuals. Feiglin clarified his position to the Ma'ariv newspaper that just because he considers Hitler a military genius, this does not mean he admires him. He was banned from Britain. I mean, I guess at least he's honest. Like, I don't know. I mean, he's right here. He's saying babies in Gaza are my enemy. Like, this is his quote. So is it all that crazy for him to also be like, yeah, and Hitler actually was fucking a figure worthy of admiration? Like, is that strange for him to say? Is it really? When you think about it, is it really that crazy for this guy to admire Adolf Hitler? Yeah, he's Jewish. Yeah, he's in Israel. Yeah, his immediate family members most likely were fucking executed by Adolf Hitler in the Holocaust. So you're like, how do you live in this situation? Like, how do you live with yourself is of course something that you can think about, but it's like after a steady dose of dehumanizing propaganda where you dehumanize yourself, it's understandable where he's just kind of looking at it and being like, fascism is fucking awesome. Is he an elected official? Yes. Some of the wonderful perspectives that you hear in the diverse body that is the Knesset in Israel. But to be fair, like I stated, oh, he's not anymore? He almost was? Wait, I thought he was a part of Likud initially. Was he not a part of the Knesset when he was in Likud? He was from Likud. I don't think he is any longer. He's a former minister of the Knesset, but he was in the Knesset. And now he's the head of the Zehud party, the identity party, which is like the libertarian one, right? Which is really funny. Yes, the libertarian party. I love the libertarian party being like, as a libertarian, Adolf Hitler is a figure worthy of much admiration. Yeah, I saw in the Wikipedia, it said he was a part of the Likud in the Knesset from 2013 to 2015 and then swapped over to the Libertarian Party. Are people actually this knowingly fascist? Like, they recognize how fascist they are? Dog. One of the parties in the governing coalition that has members in the war cabinet is literally called the Jewish Power Party. Okay, you know how like they have white power party? Like, imagine it's called the Jewish Power Party. It's like half of, Otzma Yehudit. It is, no, they don't. Yes, they do. What the fuck are you talking about? No, they don't. That is literally the name of Itamar Ben-Gvir's party. What the fuck are you talking about? No, they don't. What is happening here? Why are you denying reality that is one Google search away where you were like, it's so objectionable, this must not be true? No, they don't. Like, what the fuck do you mean? No, they don't. Just Google it. What did he say? What the fuck did he say? What did he say? I missed his response. Liberals being Nazis, but they still in the closet? What? Okay, I can't have a conversation with that person. He's too stupid. Anyway, yeah, Google is Hamas, brother. Anyway, yeah, but they left the coalition for like a few months. As you can tell, they really changed a lot, and now they're back. Of course. And better than ever. Oh, yeah, Israelis literally admit they're fascists. This happened not that long ago. A New York Times interview with a West Bank settler, she proudly admits that she is a fascist. Like, what are we talking about? Yes, I can admit that there's something fascist about what we're doing. There's something, I can admit there's something fascist about me. I'm not hiding it. I don't believe there's any other way.
Your uncensored lack of political correctness definitely shocked me.
No, it's not an old ass video. This is after October 7. I think she went down there to fucking interview some of these goddamn settlers. They're fucking freaks. You misunderstood. He was in disbelief. He's saying Israeli libs are Nazis in the closet. Yes, because Zionism is Nazism. Okay, Zionism, especially in this modern iteration of Zionism, is impossible to contend with as anything but Nazi ideology. That's it. You can fantasize about a different kind of Zionism, but like if motherfucking Albert Einstein recognized that that version of Zionism did not exist in 1948, how the fuck are you 77 years later still fantasizing about it? Like Albert Einstein was like, yeah, no, this is some fascist bullshit. We got to stop. Okay. Either you have a perfectly peaceful binational commitment to fucking living alongside the indigenous population, or you're a fucking Nazi. And now when you say that in 2025, people go, huh, what do you mean? I can't believe you're saying that. And I'm not saying that because like Albert Einstein is like brilliant or whatever the fuck. Okay, I'm not. I'm just showing. I'm showing you that a guy who was there when Nazi Germany was happening very quickly as a Jewish man recognized what the fuck was going on in before 1948. He was like, nope, this is done. We're done with this. This is crazy. Okay. I'm not saying Einstein is dumb either. I'm just saying that like it doesn't even require someone to be particularly fucking brilliant to be cognizant of what was taking place. He had fucking eyes and ears, dude. One of my family members said I should go to Israel to learn about it on the ground, then said IDF isn't a terror organization. I said, well, Irgun and Lehi were Jewish terrorist paramilitaries that created the state of Israel and got folded into the IDF. And they said, I don't know what Irgun or Lehi are. How can you even have an opinion on Israel without knowing that? Dude, you want to know why? That's the only way you can have an opinion on Israel, because that is the opinion of, I suspect, an American Jew, right? A person that may have like gone to Israel once or twice, a person that has probably gone to Israel once or twice that is just like utterly unknowledgeable about the fucking history of this nation state that they want to defend. Because the best possible way for a Westerner who's far removed from living in Israeli society to defend Israel is with a healthy diet of propaganda and certainly a lot of lack of knowledge. If you don't have those gaps in your knowledge of the history of Israel, you are going to have a very hard time with the contradictions that unfold in front of your eyes. This is the reality. This is why so many people who do learn about the true history of Israel go, okay, fuck this. I'm out. It's easy, especially for an American Jew or a Westerner, to fucking say that because you don't have that same association. You didn't grow up there. Why the fuck would you care? Yeah, you're like, okay, that's just some psychotic shit happening over there. That's nothing to do with me. What the fuck? I don't give a fuck. Anyway, truly just a fucking repulsive Nazi society at this point. And they are, as I showed you yesterday, like, Benny Gantz I have smoke for separately. He also says some fucking dumbass shit. Bezalel Smotrich yesterday was flexing. He was flexing at a fucking press conference being like, we are literally committed to the ethnic cleansing of every Gazan and the world has yet to stop us. That's what he said. Okay? He said that.
Gaza, oyev. האויב הוא לא החמאס, והוא גם לא הזרוע הצבאית של החמאס.
I just Googled Einstein on Zionism, and it says he was positive about it. Are these lies? Einstein very openly declared the version of Zionism that every Jewish person, especially Jews that were around during the Holocaust, had a very positive, understandably, very positive association with Zionism initially. Okay? Einstein also was one of those Jews. Of course. Ironically enough, I talk about this on my Oxford speech, which I'm gonna get to in a second. They thought, oh, great, we will have a land without people for a people without land. The Jews in that situation were the people without land.
כמו שהפצ"רית שלנו מספרת לנו שאסור לנו לפגוע בזרוע הצבאית, כל ילד בעזה הוא האויב. אנחנו צריכים לכבוש את עזה וליישבה, ושלא יישאר שם ילד עזתי אחד. אין ניצחון אחר. אני אומר לך יותר מזה.
Yeah, well, this is modern Zionism, okay? If you want to understand modern Zionism. Anyway, the European Union has officially agreed to review its trade agreement with Israel due to the worsening humanitarian situation in Gaza. They don't think it's enough that they're allowing like one or two fucking trucks to enter into the Gaza Strip. And they are finally deciding to starting to posture aesthetically against the events that are unfolding, against the genocide, without calling it a genocide. This is the first step. It might be far too late at this point. I welcome any step in the correct direction. But 19 fucking months, dude. Jesus Christ.
Speaker, we are now entering a dark new phase in this conflict. Netanyahu's government is planning to drive Gazans from their homes into a corner of the strip to the south and permit them a fraction of the aid that they need. Yesterday, Minister Smodrik even spoke of Israeli forces cleansing Gaza, destroying what's left of residents, Palestinians, being relocated, he said, to third countries. We must call this what it is. It is extremism. It is dangerous. It is repellent. It is monstrous, and I condemn it in the strongest possible terms. Clear. There is a UN plan ready to deliver aid at scale, needed with mitigations against aid diversion. There are brave humanitarians ready to do their jobs. There are over 9,000 trucks at the border. Prime Minister Netanyahu, end this blockade now and let the aid in. Regrettably, Madam Deputy Speaker, despite our efforts, this Israeli government's egregious actions and rhetoric have continued. They are isolating Israel from its friends and partners around the world, undermining the interests of the Israeli people, and damaging the image of the State of Israel in the eyes of the world. I find this deeply painful as a lifelong friend of Israel and a believer in the values that were expressed in its Declaration of Independence.
Yeah.
As the Prime Minister and fellow leaders said yesterday, we cannot stand by in the face of
no more lifelong friends of Israel, bitch.
It is incompatible with the principles that underpin our bilateral relationship. Rejected by members across this House, and frankly, it's an affront to the values of the British people. Therefore, today, I'm announcing that we have suspended negotiations with this Israeli government on a new free trade agreement.
The situation in Gaza is catastrophic. The aid that Israel has allowed in is, of course, welcomed, but it's a drop in the ocean. Aid must flow immediately without obstruction and at scale, because this is what is needed.
By the way, this is exactly what happened with South Africa. The West was fully on board with apartheid until it was a political burden. Now, most people think the West was always anti-apartheid. Apartheid probably would have ended earlier if it were not for the US and UK. Yup. Does Israel have to let in humanitarian aid to Gaza? Survey. Israeli Channel 13 News. 53% no. 34% yes. 13% don't know. This, by the way, is a survey conducted on the Israeli Jewish Society and Israeli Palestinian citizens of Israel as well. Their designation, not mine. So when those numbers are 53% no, I would love to see what the demographic breakdown of that is. For the record, Moin Rabbani, as he points to, this is all symbolic. After 19 months of genocide, Great Britain has decided it needs to send an unambiguous message to Israel. The accelerated delivery of weapons from Britain to Israel, initiated by the Starmer government to enable the intensified mass slaughter of Palestinians, will continue without interruption. So will the import of illegal products from illegal settlements that sustains the illegal Israeli occupation. But London will pause negotiations with the genocidal apartheid state about a UK-Israel free trade agreement. The Starmer government will continue giving Israel everything it needs to continue with the genocide and apartheid, but make a performative gesture of punishing Israel by withholding from it something that has not been provided. The unambiguous message: keep up the fantastic work. We've got your back. Too clever by half. Pure smoke and mirrors. The reason why they're even issuing the statement in and of itself is important, though, because the reason why they are issuing the statement implies that they want to, at least on the propaganda front, sever ties with the seemingly unconditional support that they've offered Israel. It's a step in the right direction. It's a step in the right direction. They're trying to save face, but the very fact that they recognize that there is face saving that must be done implies that more good things could happen in the future. That's all I'm saying. I'm just explaining to you that obviously this is not going to be a real game changer in the short term. It's not going to be possibly a game changer in the long term, but it is somewhat positive because it moves the needle in the appropriate direction. Toxic, repulsive pariah state in the eyes of the politicians is a little different than Israel becoming a toxic, repulsive pariah state in the eyes of the public. Because at the end of the day, given that we do not have a real a real democratic process in the Western world. It is just a sham, a mockery, as we have found out, as it's in full display. That sham is in full display with the direct difference in opinion from the broader public on this issue versus our politicians on this issue. The very fact that the politicians are playing catch up here, even if it's for aesthetic reasons, implies that more reckoning could come down the line.
I've made these points also with my talks with Israelis. Also, I've had talks with UN and the regional leaders as well. Pressure is necessary to change the situation. It is clear from today's discussion that there is a strong majority in favor of review of Article 2 of our association agreement with Israel. So we will launch this exercise, and in the meantime, it is up to Israel to unblock the humanitarian aid. Saving lives must be our top priority.
Israel's Prime Minister has condemned the leaders of France, Britain and Canada after they called for an end to his country's renewed military offensive in Gaza. Benjamin Netanyahu called their remarks a huge prize for Hamas and insisted Israel would continue to press for what he described as a total victory over Hamas. Well, the joint statement signed by Sir Keir Starmer, Emmanuel Macron and Mark Carney says,
"Dog, don't make Hamas look good. Simple solution, you know what I mean? You made your bed, you know what I mean? You made this fucking bed, big dog. What are we talking about? Oh, wow, this is Hamas. You're playing into the hands of Hamas." This is why I said, like, as the depravity of Israel becomes impossible to defend, and by my estimation, it was impossible to defend like 10 days in, obviously, but it becomes even impossible for politicians to defend it. More and more people will also come to the conclusion that perhaps resisting against this atrocious terrorist state is not the worst fucking thing. Obviously, there's a healthy dose of Islamophobia associated with this. So I'm not expecting like Americans to fucking praise Hamas anytime soon. Okay? But Israel itself has made Hamas the actual responsible party here. The actual party that is reasonable in comparison to Israel, because genocide is unreasonable no matter who's doing it. It's that simple.
While they have always supported Israel's right to defend Israelis against terrorism, the current escalation is wholly disproportionate. And it warns if Israel does not cease the renewed military offensive and lift its restrictions on humanitarian aid, we will take further concrete actions in response. Well, Israel eased its complete blockade of the territory on Monday and let in a handful of aid trucks, but the UN says far more supplies are needed. The bombardment of Gaza has continued overnight with reports of deadly airstrikes. This comes not long after the UN's humanitarian chief has called the first delivery of aid into Gaza for 11 weeks a drop in the ocean. We'll speak to our diplomatic correspondent Paul Adams in a moment, but first let's hear from Yolande Nell in Jerusalem. Yolande, first those comments then from the UK, Canada and France and the reaction from Israel. Talk us through what's been happening.
Well, we've had the Israeli Prime Minister condemning that joint statement, saying it's a huge prize for Hamas and that it will invite further atrocities of the kind that was perpetrated on the 7th of October 2023, the deadly attack on southern Israel that killed some 1,200 people. He also said that Israel would continue to defend itself by just means until total victory. But I think this won't be so easily brushed off by the Israeli leader, because these are important UK, France and Canada that have come out with this very harshly worded statement, really some of the strongest criticism that we've seen so far of Israel's handling of the war, and threatening concrete actions as well, without going into what those might be. Now, this all happening as we continue to see Israel's deadly bombardment, this intense military offensive going on in the Gaza Strip overnight.
I feel like these people are literally robots, dude. That is crazy. They are robots. Like, immediately, right after the official government statement is against Israel, they drop the fucking passive voice like overnight. What happened? Like, do you not have any humanity? I don't understand how they can just like yesterday say Israel has a right to defend itself, and then tomorrow, as soon as the government offers permission, just like you didn't spend the last 19 months of genocide constantly fucking broadcasting the most defensible position for Israel, as though you didn't do that at all. You just turn around and go, Israel has been doing incredible bombing campaigns in Gaza. That is crazy. That is fucking insane. Actually crazy. This goes to show how important words are, how important using certain terms are. Because if Keir Starmer, the kid starver, was calling it a fucking genocide, the BBC would too. Straight up.
The Hamas-run civil defense is saying that at least 44 people have been killed, most of those within the space of about half an hour, we understand from local sources, when there were Israeli strikes that hit a school being used as a shelter for displaced people in Gaza City. In the southern part of the Gaza Strip, there was a fuel station that's disused, being used as a tent city for displaced people that was hit, a residential building of 3 stories as well. And, still we're waiting to see what aid goes into Gaza in the course of the day. Lots of safety and logistical issues given the ongoing Israeli military offensive. But now that Israel has eased this blockade, it's been a total blockade of the Gaza Strip for 11 weeks now, with no food, no medicines, no fuel, no shelters going into Gaza. There's really a dire humanitarian situation. And we've heard that only 9 lorry loads of aid were cleared for entry into Gaza one day ago. A senior UN official has told the BBC this morning that there's clearance that's been given for 100 or so lorry loads. But of course, this is being seen as a drop in the ocean, given the huge needs of a population of 2 million people.
Yolande, for the moment, thank you very much. Yolande now in Jerusalem. As we said, we'll speak to Paul Adams in just a moment. But Yolande was referring now to the aid situation in Gaza. Well, the UN's Humanitarian Relief Chief, Tom Fletcher, a former British diplomat, has been speaking to the BBC in the last hour, saying just 5 aid trucks were cleared to enter after Israel's blockade was lifted, but are stuck on the border.
Well, that's a drop in the ocean. And let's be clear, those 5 trucks are just sat on the other side of the border right now. They've not reached the communities they need.
Bro, this has been ongoing. That's interesting. Perhaps some people will ask, wait a minute, did this happen overnight? I'm confused. Because it sure feels like it happened overnight, the way you changed up, the way you changed your tone. Not Tom Fletcher. I'm just saying, like, the way the BBC is crazy. Like, it must have happened just last night, right? Because otherwise, why would the BBC not cover all of the preceding events that must have been quite similar to this starvation campaign? Interesting. This is not about Tom Fletcher, chat. The reason why I'm saying this is because I still value the permission structure that opens up when brave people tell the fucking truth. People in positions of power demonstrating bravery is still important. This is why. Because the impact of this is your nan, your da, watching fucking this coverage and becoming more radical and in their understanding of the situation. If that wasn't important, Israel wouldn't spend a fuck ton of money and advocacy groups that they've designed specifically to stop people from learning the truth and saying the truth, to make it impossible for people without any punishments whatsoever to say Israel's doing a fucking genocide. Okay? That kind of permission matters, because once politicians say it, then the media feels less fearful about covering it truthfully. And then when the media covers it more truthfully, the numbers that are on the side of the Palestinian population grows. People no longer feel a sense of fear in supporting Israel, they never felt a sense of fear. In supporting Palestine.
To reach. And, let me describe what is on those trucks. This is baby food, baby nutrition. There are 14,000 babies that will die in the next 48 hours unless we can reach them. This is not food that Hamas are going to steal. No, we run the risk of looting. We run the risks of being hit as part of the Israeli military offensive. We run all sorts of risks trying to get that baby food through to those mothers who cannot feed their children right now because they're malnourished.
Tom Fletcher. Well, let's speak to our diplomatic correspondent, Paul. From these three allies of Israel, Paul, I mean, how significant are they?
It feels pretty significant. I mean, that some of that language that was used in the statement issued last night was almost unprecedented. The level of human suffering in Gaza is intolerable, they said. They described the Hamas attacks of October the 7th as heinous and said that Israel had the right to respond. But they described the escalation as, in their words, wholly disproportionate. And the fact that the long statement included a warning towards the end of further concrete steps certainly will have the Israelis wondering.
Yeah, you got to do your 10 Am Israel highs before you ever dare criticize the beautiful state. How can I talk to someone that wants to support Palestine but does not support Hamas? I mean, the question is simple. First of all, you don't have to support Hamas. Like, what the fuck do you mean support Hamas? You're an American or you're in London, in England. Like, we are not capable of supporting Hamas, okay? It's not a real thing. But in terms of like talking to people that are like, well, I like Palestinians, but I don't like Hamas or whatever. The easiest question is, what the fuck would you do? What would you do? What would you do if your family is being murdered by this invisible force that's bombing your fucking home? What would you do? And it's not a stretch to say that, like, of course you would rise up in fucking arms against that. It's a reality that Israeli politicians have also recognized. Members of the Shin Bet, leaders of Shin Bet, have openly stated, as have former prime ministers, have stated that if they were on the other side of that fucking border fence, they would join Hamas or whatever terrorist group existed at the time that Israel considers to be a terrorist group. That's it. The entire notion of like, these guys are scary brown terrorists, like we have to fucking remember October 7 all day, every day, is fucking ridiculous. Look at what Israel's doing, dude. Get the fuck out of here with October 7, Hamas. The average person fancies themselves to be like a radical individual who wants to engage in self-defense when their fucking taco order is busted, when they get a shitty taco order. Meanwhile, they're talking about like genocide and actually recognizing that a genocide is happening, but then you're not supposed to do anything about it. Like, what are we talking about? What the fuck does this doesn't make any sense. You don't have to fucking ride or die for Hamas. It doesn't matter. There is nothing you can do in terms of like defending Hamas or supporting Hamas anyway. It's literally fucking illegal in most parts of the world. And even in America, where it is legal, you can legally say you support Hamas. They're still trying to make it illegal. Okay? Just literally say, who do you think is the more responsible party? Do you think it's Hamas or do you think it's the fucking settler colonial state that is doing death and destruction to all Palestinians?
Whether some of Israel's closest allies are now beginning to think about things like recognize.
Okay, but ignoring October 7 is just stupid. You are erasing a tragedy that killed children. Yeah, so did the Nat Turner Rebellion. How much do you talk about how fucked up that was when covering the horrifying crime of chattel slavery? October 7 was a tragic event. Okay? I've said already, by my estimation, no one else's, by my estimation, when you target civilians, that is appropriate to consider an act of terror. Okay? Having said that, I'm not saying it's perfect, but ignoring it is just as crazy. What do you mean? No, dumbass. I've never ignored October 7. I'm saying that October 7 is virtually nothing in comparison to what Israel has done. Israel has done 1 million October 7s. What are you talking about? Israel has done an October 7 basically every 2 days for the past 19 months. This is not ignoring October 7. I'm saying you sound like a fucking moron if you keep talking about October 7 right now. Even before October 7, Israel has done an October 7 to Palestinians once every couple fucking years. How do you think October 7 happened? Yeah, when I'm dismissive of motherfuckers bringing up October 7 right now, I'm like, you're doing that to defend genocide. I don't give a fuck. Fuck you. Okay? That's it. For me, if you're bringing up October 7 at this point, you're a fucking freak. Like, you're a psycho. Straight up. You're just basically telling me that you only think Israelis are human and you don't think Palestinians are. It's that simple. Because there's no way you have the same fucking metric, dude. There's no way. There is no way you have the same metric for pain and violence. It's both sidesing the Holocaust. Literally standing terroristas. Yes, people that fucking bring up October 7 at this point are de facto standing terroristas, as in the terrorista state of Israel, okay? Yeah, it's like mentioning 9/11 in comparison to millions of people killed in the Middle East. Fucking ridiculous. What is this? I can't. The link is busted.
Recognizing the state of Palestine, something that the French have indicated they might do at a conference in New York next month. Possibly Britain has already had a partial suspension of licenses since late last year, possibly revisiting the kind of trade deals that countries have with Israel. There are many, many measures that would be available if countries decided that a red line has finally been crossed and that it is time not just to issue harsh words of condemnation, but to actually show Israel through action that enough is enough.
Paul, there's already an international criminal court warrant for Benjamin Netanyahu. So he politically surely is having to weigh up his options very carefully, considering the makeup of his government.
Yes, I mean, look, that's been a reality now since the middle of last year. He knows perfectly well that there are countries, including Britain, where he cannot safely travel without the possibility, a theoretical possibility perhaps, but a possibility nonetheless, of being arrested. I think the point that some of Israel's actually some former Israeli leaders, including Ehud Olmert, the former prime minister, make is that this prime minister, Benjamin Netanyahu, has led Israel into territory that the country has simply never been in before. And that territory is that of an international pariah. And what you see in the comments over the last few days, and particularly that statement last night, is the very real spectre of Israel plunging further and further into that kind of territory, which, if you consider the level of horror and outrage and international goodwill towards Israel that accompanied the attacks by Hamas on October the 7th, is an astonishing
These people are so gross, dude. Oh, we must acknowledge the atrocities. It's like, acknowledge that it's a genocide and advocate to invade Tel Aviv right now with the coalition of the willing. Okay? That's what must be done. You either fucking stop Israel dead in its track through the diplomatic options readily available, and if they refuse, you invade Tel Aviv. That's it. That's it. There's no other way at this point. I'm sorry. There is no other fucking way. A coalition of the willing, if the diplomatic option is not there, if Israel does not respond to the diplomatic option, then you have to have a coalition of the willing get together and stop Israel militarily through a military invasion. The fuck? What is this appeasement shit? What do we have to do? Wait for them to invade Turkey or something? Like what? What is it? Because the reality of the matter is, despite British surveillance and despite like suspicions that the concentration camps were actually death camps, the Holocaust wasn't fucking live streamed in broad daylight, okay? This is precisely the reason why the Allied forces only got into the battle to fight against Nazi Germany because they were acquiring territory, okay? It was not like a lot of people, obviously and understandably, think about the Holocaust as the most insane thing that took place, the most violent thing that took place, because it's true. That is the most violent thing that took place during World War II. Having said that, people didn't fucking know that it was going on, or at least had no scope of understanding of what was taking place at the time. They only fucking went to war because Germany was belligerent and was fucking invading every other goddamn country. That's the reason why the Western force actually fucking invaded. Now we know what is going on. We see it. It's like having a live stream camera inside of basically every day. Babies that are fucking decapitated. Every day there is another toddler whose head has been blown off by a fucking missile. How do you look at that and say we have to put we can't put an end to this? October 7, October 7, October 7. What the fuck do you mean October 7? Jesus Christ.
Khan Yunis has been the focus of some of the fiercest attacks in recent days. Israeli airstrikes and ground operations have closed in on the city, forcing thousands to flee and leaving many dead and wounded.
Oh my God, this person is so fucking gross. I'm glad you actually clapped this dumb fuck. Lovely official. Fucking, follow your leader, okay? Follow your leader. Ay, ay, ay. We're talking about the fucking atrocities that are unfolding. And this dumb fuck posts an Israeli Hasbara account with dead bodies on it to be like, Hamas sniped people, Hamas sniped people. Look, Hamas is actually killing its own people for taking flour aid from trucks to make bread. Follow your fucking leader, bitch. You are a Nazi, okay? And your end will come. Your end will come just like every other fucking Nazi's end came, okay? Remember that. Have that fear in the back of your mind every single fucking day of your existence going on from this point onward. Remember that. One day you will find yourself in that fucking bunker, okay? Disgusting filth.
The NASA hospital is the largest in the city. It is also one of the only hospitals still functioning. A team of British doctors and surgeons is now working there. They are specialists in plastic surgery.
Delusional, you flipping out, going to make this worse and worse, LMFAO, but you are freaking out? What are you saying? 55-month subscriber. What the fuck are you saying, bro? Rip? What do you mean, rip? I don't understand. I don't even understand the point you're trying to make. You're saying my anger at a time when the rest of the world is at least aware enough to admit that Israel's doing some fuck shit. My anger is going to make Israel do a harder genocide? Is that what you're saying? Israel's getting their notes on its exterminationist policies from a fucking Twitch streamer? Please clarify your position. Yeah, the angrier one gets over Israel doing a genocide, the more Israel has to do genocide. You're making it worse. You really don't believe you're pushing so much people away from convince the masses? Convince the masses? If there was a democratic process, the masses would have already decided long ago for Israel to stop this death and destruction. There is no democratic process here. That is precisely the reason why, after 90 months of genocide, there are at least like government officials that are finally saying enough is enough. It's not the fucking masses that I must convince. It's the notion of democracy itself that you need to drop. What the fuck? 55-month subscriber being like, wow, I can't believe how uncivil you are. You have given me $5 fucking dollars or $6 for 55 months following since March 6th in 2019. That means you heard me say America deserved 9/11. That means you were there when I got banned for saying, for calling a chatter a cracker bitch. That means you were through thick and thin. You watched me day in, day out. What the fuck are you talking about? Your expectation is that I remain civil in the face of a live streamed baby holocaust? Are you fucking stupid? What happened? Hey man, you're the one freaking out, not me. Yes. You are a fucking worm-like individual if you don't actually freak out at the sight of dead children every fucking day. That's my point. You didn't learn a single damn thing. What the fuck? That is crazy. Also, there is nothing in here. This is such a cowardly way to try and criticize me. Like, there is no like, your statement is something that I disagree with. It's just simply assuming that people will hear what I'm saying and actually continue to fucking defend Israel's genocide. Is that what you mean? The rest of the global south was already on that fuck Israel tip in perpetuity. Now the Western world, especially younger generations of the Western world, have arrived at that justifiable conclusion. Okay? Wake the fuck up. Wake up. Smell the fucking roses. Or maybe you got stroked out like John Fetterman or something, and you're now running on this like a weird pro-Israel slant after 55 months. Mind-boggling. Go ahead, dude. Explain to me what you have an issue with. Yes, I agree with that. I'm saying the older generations. Fuck the older generations. And even the older generations are not on board with this. 80% of the Democratic parties, based people over the age of 65, say fuck Israel, okay? They say Israel must commit to a fucking ceasefire. And they've been saying that for months. It's not even just the older generations. There are very few places where you can see a majority support for Israel. Israel is one of those places, obviously, where there's a majority support for Israel and its actions. And the other place is Congress and parliaments in the Western world. That's it. And unfortunately, those two are the power players here. If you are to analyze public sentiment on Israel, in spite of the censorious regime, in spite of the constant contextualization of unlimited violence that Israel subjects people to, Israel subjects Palestinians to, look at this fucking poll, dude. 18 to 24-year-olds. Whom do you support more? Israel at 54%, Hamas at 46%. Just wait. This is precisely what I've been talking about. If the only two options are Israel versus Hamas, and people start recognizing what Israel's actually doing, they're going to be like, yeah, Hamas is awesome. Fuck you mean? That's not going down. That's only going up. In Chatter's logs, Amazon abuses way more people than Kick with gambling. Keck W. Oh, he's just a dumb fuck. Like a perma-dumb fuck. Perma-contrarian. I am not pro-Israel. Never been, but okay. Yes. The very fact that you have to maintain a permanently contrarian position in here and adopt idiotic framing over the course of the past fucking seemingly 6 years, right? And even you, a dumb fuck, can't admit that you like Israel means that the public sentiment has shifted dramatically. That's my point. Even enlightened centrists such as yourself go, optically, I don't really like what you're saying about Israel's genocide. Suck my dick. Israel can suck my dick too. And you can also suck my dick. Fuck you. And fuck Israel. Dumbass. Hamas wants to kill civilians. Hamas wants to kill civilians. Hamas wants to kill civilians. I think you meant Israel, right? Once again, another point that I love when Fox News uses is that Hamas is a more moral organization than the Israeli government is. This is an undeniable fact. Hamas and the Al-Qassam Brigade and its military actions, were significantly more moral than Israel's genocide after October 7. Why do I say that? Look at the civilian targeting metrics and you will realize that reality. This is before we factor in the obvious reality that Israel is a settler colonial state. It is a belligerent occupier. It doesn't have a legal right to fucking even blow up the Gaza Strip, which it is created an enclosure around. All of this stuff. It's not. Israel is a mistake. It was a 77-year-long mistake. That's the mistake you have to fucking turn around and say is the mistake. Not the fact that Israel sometimes mistakenly, does a genocide. Israel is a settler colonial apparatus. Israel is a settler colonial fascist country. It is doing a genocide, and when it wasn't doing a genocide, it was still a fucking apartheid. Okay? That's it. So if you have condemnations for people who actually fucking kill civilians, as I do, your condemnation should be overwhelmingly against Israel, because Israel is the power player in this dynamic. Hamas's very existence and Hamas's methods evolving since 1978, when it fucking started off as a goddamn Islamic charity, is directly because of Israel's violence increasing. That's it. Do you think if Israel did not do the Nakba that there would be this much resistance against Israel? Do you think Hamas would exist if it wasn't for fucking Israel destroying Palestinians' lives? Of course not. The fuck? You have to literally unironically subscribe to the notion that like every Palestinian is just a barbaric, rapist, anti-Semitic fucking monster to actually entertain this idiotic idea. It's just pure racism. It doesn't work in any other capacity. You have to literally think every Muslim is like a barbaric, rapist horde that wants to just kill all Jews and fucking cut their boobs off and play soccer with them or some shit. That's it. You calling a chatter a dumb fuck after 55 months is why it's hard to support anyone on the left. Not a good look, gang. Oh shit, man. You know what's not a good look? Being a 55-month subscriber and being such a dumb fuck that you still actually try to make an argument that like Israel is actually doing a genocide because people like myself are actually calling it correctly a genocide. Attributing Israel's violent actions in the Gaza Strip to someone like myself is unironically dumber than anything you could have ever fucking come up with or anything that you've ever heard from my mouth. Okay, me calling that dumb fuck ass take a dumb fuck ass take, regardless of the fact that he's given me $330 fucking over the course of the past 6 years, should help you recognize that I'm a fucking honest person. Okay, I don't suck up to chatters just because they've been in here for an extended period of time. Because when you're in here for an extended period of time, your support financially is meaningless if you don't learn anything. If you are in here for 6 fucking years, constantly giving me $5 a month to avoid the top of the hour ad breaks or whatever the fuck, okay? Or because you love what I have to do, you have to learn something. You have to learn something. Notice how I'm not actually attacking you as aggressively as I did to that guy because he's been in here for 6 fucking years. You only have been in here, I guess, sporadically for 1 year. So obviously, my smoke for you is significantly less. So please, don't assume that the customer is always right. This is one area where if you want me to treat you like a fucking human being, if you want me to treat you like a goddamn human being, you have to behave like a goddamn human being. You can't just turn around and be like, I don't really like that you're being mean to a chatter. Okay? You are, once again, also exhibiting the same exact tendency that other chatter exhibits. You after 55 months is why it's hard for people to support anyone on the left. You are drawing a conclusion about the broader left from a fucking Twitch streamer and how he is yelling at a fucking chatter who has said something incredibly stupid. Your expectation is what? That when a 55-month chatter comes in here and says something stupid, I say, yes, sir, please, sir, thank you more. No, please, give me more of your brilliant, enlightened perspective. After all, you give me $330, so whatever you say goes, sir. Is that what I should be doing? Is that how we build a broader leftist coalition? That's what it hinges on? A dumb fuck Twitch streamer and the resentment that he feels, not only towards that chatter, but the resentment towards myself. I feel disgusting when I have someone who has been in here for 55 fucking months and it didn't learn anything. I feel like I'm a fucking failure. Okay? Motherfuckers will come in here and be like, you're so audience captured. You're such a pussy. You say these radical things because you're worried your audience is going to call you out for it. And then when I fucking yell at a dumbass in here, they go, oof, he's so mean to his audience. Have you seen that? Which is it? Am I fucking audience captured? Or do I tell it like it is? I have a goal. I know it's very difficult for people to comprehend this because they're so fucking used to dumb grifters everywhere, projecting their own fucking personal insecurities and their own lack of interest in pushing for a fucking political movement. I have a goal, okay? I know, it's shocking. The goal is not just to put money in my fucking pocket because if that was my goal, I'd be a right-wing grifter, okay? I wouldn't have to entertain any of this shit. I could ban whoever the fuck I want, do whatever the fuck I want, purchase whatever the fuck I want, and be as racist as I want to be. You know what I mean? If that was something that I was interested in, that's what I would do. Even if I'm not personally racist, I would still be racist just for money. I do this because I care about this. I know that's a difficult concept to grasp because everyone has become so fucking nihilistic online where everyone is like, there's no way a person could advocate for things for others, things that actually don't even benefit them immediately, things that actually might harm their financial status in the long run. There's no way that they would do that. There is a reason why. There are not that many people with my fucking financial status advocating for the things that I'm advocating for. And it's not because I'm audience captured. And it's not because I rely on people giving me money to keep saying this, especially because the alternative is much simpler. You don't have to be brilliant. You don't have to be charismatic. You don't have to be entertaining. All you need to do is sit there, play fucking Trump videos and go, yeah, based as cockroaches fucking fly out of your asshole to literally build a massive fucking community because that's how easy it is to grift to the right. because right-wingers are dumb fucks. Right-wingers are the most malleable bots that I've ever encountered in my entire life. I could convince a right-winger adult to eat a bag of dog shit in a matter of 3.5 minutes, okay? That's how simple